It was a mild, sunny afternoon, quite warm for winter, and all the snow had melted away during the night. Princess Amy was walking around the outside of the castle, dressed in her rubbish robot costume, carrying her toy gun and looking for the evil witch. Of course, there wasn't really an evil witch to shoot. This was just Amy's Friday game. But the strange thing was, it wasn't a Friday. It was a boring Monday. "Where are you, evil witch face?" Amy said quietly, walking closer to the edge of the forest, or the edge of the garden, pointing her toy gun towards the forest. Do-do-do-do. The forest, the only place she hadn't really explored. She moved closer to the edge of the forest. Do-do-do-do. Oh, maybe. Her toy gun still raised, and tried to look between all the trees. It didn't look very dark in there, or very scary. But her promise, her mother would be very angry if she disobeyed her and went into the forest on her own. No, she couldn't. She turned back to the grass, lowered her gun and took off her rubbish robot costume. She sat and watched the insects crawl along the ground and bump into each other. She watched them for another hour, and then another hour after that. She watched the sun move slowly across the sky. Ooh, there's no sun. Still, the day was not over. Suddenly, from inside the forest, she heard a sound. She couldn't be sure, but it sounded like someone laughing. "Dad?" she mumbled, getting onto her feet. There it was again. More laughter. She left the insects and moved closer to the forest. The laughter continued. Was it really him? Maybe she could go in just a few meters, just to see what was going on. It wouldn't be dangerous. The only person she knew who was in the forest was her dad. And if he was the person laughing, she would be safe. "Dad, I'm coming," she said quietly. Amy took one step forward, almost close enough to touch the trunk of the first tree. It was too dark inside the forest to see anyone, but the laughter was still there. "Right, that's it. I know it's you. It has to be." Princess Amy suddenly forgot about her mother and all the people who'd said the forest was dangerous. Oh, the forest is moving. And walked past the first tree. And the second. And the third. This isn't so bad, she thought. Ooh, where am I? There are only trees and mushrooms and flowers and small animals. There is no bad magic or crazy dangerous things to hurt me. And she kept on walking deeper and deeper into the forest, looking for the person who was laughing, hoping to find him and see if it was her father, or someone who knew where her father might be. But even though she could still hear the laughter, she couldn't see any people. Where were they? She stopped next to a tree that looked grey instead of brown, and looked around for the source of the laughter. But as soon as she tried to focus on the sound, the laughter disappeared. It was like there was a tape recorder and the person playing the laughter had just pressed stop, or pause. She told herself it was no big deal, and that the person laughing was just taking a break, and soon they would feel happy again and start laughing. But it didn't happen. 20, 30, 40 minutes passed, and still there was no more laughter. Oh no, she thought, starting to feel worried. Mum is going to kill me if she finds out I walked into the forest. I better go back, and quickly too. It was a good plan. However, when she turned back round to look for the castle, it was gone. And worse, she had been so excited about finding the person laughing, hoping that it was her father, that she'd forgotten to leave some kind of trail so she could find her way back home. Oh no, she said to herself, putting her hands on her face. She wanted to cry, but she knew that wouldn't help in any way. So she said to herself, "Don't be a baby, don't cry." And she didn't. Well, I guess I should try and find my way back then. She took a deep breath, turned round, and froze like a statue made of ice. What was that? She closed her eyes and opened them again, but it didn't change a thing. What is it? She whispered to herself, starting to feel scared. In front of her, standing next to the nearest tree, was a giant pink thing. She wasn't sure what it was exactly, but it seemed to be made of metal, like a robot. A giant pink robot. As soon as she thought it, the giant pink thing, which might have been a robot, turned around and looked at her. Its eyes were black, but suddenly they turned red. You are a robot, she said. The robot raised its arm somehow and held its hand, pointing it to Princess Amy. You are wrong. You should not be here, it said in a cold robotic voice. What do you mean? Said Amy. I was just walking in the forest and I think I got lost. I'm trying to find my way home. Although Amy was scared, she didn't want the robot to know she was scared, so she made sure her voice was very firm and very calm. Maybe you can help me, she added, smiling at the robot. The robot looked to the side. Amy followed the look, but there was nothing there, only another tree. What was so special about that tree? Hello? She asked, wondering if the robot had broken down. It hadn't broken down. It was thinking. When giant pink robots wanted to think, they turned their head to the side. The robot turned back to Amy